Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters. We're on season 7, episode 3, entitled Grand Opening and Closing. And that's exactly what almost happened because of Pam's aggravating ass, but we'll get to it. So let's jump right into the review. Andy scrolls into work, child, and she's giving freshly cohabitated and all that other stuff with Jordan. And so Fatima's like, girl, you need to be answering your phone. It's a lot going on. And I've been trying to get in contact with you. Fatima tells her like she needs to pull it together. She needs to get her story together because the FBI is all over Gary and you could get tied up in that and you need to, we need to get our story together. Well, your story together. Fatima tells her that that Gary is being looked at for embezzling, everything, pyramid scheming, just all over scammer pretty much. All the partners have called a meeting and she needs to distance herself from Gary, from what Gary's got going on. They all know, she had a relationship with Gary, and so that's definitely going to be called into question. So she needs to figure out her plan of attack. The penthouse and the car are in Andy's name, which is fine as far as like repossession is concerned. However, that does not look good to the partners because, if they trace that the payment for the items came from Gary, then again she's gonna be way more commingled with him as she would like to be. Of course Hayden rose up. He wants to gloat about the situation, and they remind him like, okay, like not too much on the laughing because didn't you have some dealings and partnerships with Gary as well? And he tells him like, I've already told them that me and Gary did have dealings, but the business was legit, so I'm not too worried about it. And then he goes on to make this deal with Andy. He was like, listen, we both know we had dealings with Gary, but I won't bring you up when they do their deposition or when they ask me my relationships. I won't bring you up as long as you don't bring me up. And so, okay, they agreed to, work together, at least in this aspect, because who the hell really wants to work with Hayden, right? But however, they kind of sort of maybe need him a little bit in this situation. Now, by the end of the episode, he immediately contradicts the agreement that they've come to, and I'm not quite sure why. But we'll get to that by the end of the episode. Anyway, we see Fatima being the, for lack of a better term, the savior in this episode because she's always on top of trying to get some action going, telling Andy like, hey, you need to get your story together. They're looking for you, like always being like the fixer, much like her cousin, Madam, over on the All the Queen's Men series. And I wish she would kind of apply that concept to her life and her interactions with Zach, or maybe get some of that sewed up since she likes to fix things. But, you can only ask so much of her, I suppose. Moving right along. Pam is live at the grand opening. She's on social media. She's trying to take the social media approach to help get some new clients in, all that good stuff. And Karen tells her like, listen, we really don't even need that. I'm only interested in getting my old people in here and getting them back acclimated. But Pam, insists on getting like the social media aspect involved. And so we're just going to kind of go with it for now. And then all of a sudden the power goes out. The power in the building goes out, and simultaneously the building owner, who knows her name, I ain't bother writing it down, shows up. And Candace's like, listen, she thought it was a client. She was like, listen, we're not open just yet, da-da-da. She's like, no, I'm the building owner. And she tells her like, listen, your auto drafts for your lease payment did not go through. So ain't gonna be no grand opening if you don't come up with my money. And so, she's got to rectify that in the middle of getting things together for this grand opening. And she's like, listen, the money should have been in the business. And so the lady, says what she needs to say in her little snooty white woman tone and sachets right on out the building. And so the money should have been in the business account, but she's just going to transfer from her personal account until she can get things squared away. All right. Gary calls Hayden, and he is desperate. Like, he is literally begging Hayden, like, listen, I just need one favor. I just need a little bit of help. And Hayden can't be bothered. He's like, listen, I don't know what you got going on, my boy, but I don't want no parts of it. And so, I'm not going to be able to do it. Cut to him hanging up the conversation with Gary and panning over to the desk, and Miss Tamara, Miss Decoy, is sitting on the desk in her best dress, right? And she says that she is there. She's there putting the moves on Hayden. She missed him. They were good together. Blah, 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 blah. And she tells them that turns out the FBI hired her to get dirt on him, and she was trying to help them take down Gary. Hayden somehow got caught up in it. She felt bad about it, and now she's here to rectify it, I guess, using her feminine wiles. And I was thoroughly damn confused because, girl, what? You did what now? Okay, so I'm trying to piece together, like, how in the hell she turned confidential informant. I'm presuming once they got into their little spat and she finally told Hayden, like, yeah, I'm here to, take you for everything you got, which she tells him in the scene, like, hey, I was just gonna take everything I could get and run. So somewhere in between, like, her confessing that to him and being in this office, the FBI has gotten in contact with her, and she's there to help them take down Gary. And if Hayden just happens to be a casualty, cool. But girl, you got a lot going on because you was already an informant. You were already on the payroll for Madam. I'm sure you've done this to other people before by way of being employed by Fatima's cousin. And then Fatima employed you to do the same thing to Hayden, and now the FBI has employed you to do the same thing to Gary and Hayden. And girl, it's giving very much super spy, and it is unnecessary. We did not need her to be an informant. She had enough going on. She would have did fine just taking the money and running, and we wouldn't have missed her by no means. So that was just awkward to just place her in there as some freaking super spy for the FBI. Weird. The therapist is talking to Danny. She had already come over. Danny was kind of frantic cleaning. She was worried about how the conversation was going to go. But now we're here, and we're going to talk to the therapist. The therapist is there talking to her, and she reminds her, listen, I know that you're nervous, but when I'm asking you questions, there's no right or wrong answer. And you also don't have to answer my question with the question. We just talking. We just chopping it up. This is our first introduction. We just talking. And she asked her, she's like, listen, what inspired you to seek therapy? And she was like, alcohol. She was like, well, what do you mean by alcohol? She was like, the things I allow my friends to talk me into while I'm on said alcohol. She tells her, like, she let her friends convince her that she needed therapy, even though she really doesn't think she does. And so the therapist goes to remind her, like, hey, she reminds her, like, you choose, she has to choose to heal, and she has to want to be there. Otherwise, she's just wasting my time, your time, and your money. So, then she goes on to ask her, hey, how close are you to your friends? She was like, literally like sisters. And she was like, I'll give you this to think about. And then I'll go and you'll, let me know if you want to continue this. She's like, listen, if the people that know you that well make such a suggestion, it may be obvious that there's something that they see that you cannot. And you also want to keep in mind that they want the best for you. And so, I think it would be beneficial, but I'm not going to force you to your healing, for lack of a better term. So you just reach out to me when you're ready. And, I guess that kind of got through to Danny, but she agreed, like, listen, I got your number. Think you're a pretty cool chick. I'll call you, if I feel like I want to continue this thing. And, I guess that's just the first meeting. There's not going to be any breakthroughs, still getting to know people and all that good stuff. So we may or may not be making progress. I don't know how well it's going to fare, Danny, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But what I will say here about therapy is I see where she's saying it's not for everybody, and I'm willing to agree. As someone that has participated in therapy and quit quite a few times, it's a delicate thing. Finding somebody that can relate, finding somebody that can understand is important. And I say that to say I had a therapist before, and she was a white woman. She was a white woman, and she could give me, the paperwork and the homework and things that she learned, in her training. But that didn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? So I know that when I embark on this journey again, it's going to have to be somebody that looks and experiences things like me to understand, right? And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you one of the major reasons why I stopped attending. It was around the I had them, is it George Floyd? I think it was the George Floyd era, right? And for some reason that was the police brutality killing thing that was too much for me, right? Not to get out too much of my business, right? And it affected me, and I couldn't quite figure out why. And so I go to talk to the lady, and I'm like, hey, this is affecting me. Of course, there's some historical things and all this other stuff that triggers and brought these things up. But she said, I see how you might have a reaction. However, you don't know that man, so you shouldn't feel how you feeling. And for me, I was affected at a black man being taken off the earth, right? Knowing that I am surrounded in relationship in all these things with black men, and you could not see how that affected me. To say that you don't know this person personally means that you shouldn't have a emotional reaction, tells me that you don't understand the black plight, and you ain't for me, baby. Right? Okay. Well, I said all that to say it might work when aligned with the right people. And I think that Krisha is potentially going to be I think she's going to be a good fit for Danny if given the chance. That's all I wanted to say on that. So yeah. So I think it works when it does, but when it's not going to work, just don't. You're going to force it. You're really just going to be forcing it. All right. We're at the bank at Sabrina's new location, and Rich stops by. She's mad because he disappeared last night. And he tells her, like, listen, the baby talk kind of scared me off. But I'm not mad about it. And Sabrina apologized for her delivery. They have some little back and forth about it. Rich wants to talk, and she's like, no, let's just talk about it later. And he's like, okay, I'll be at the smoothie shop. I think he owns a smoothie shop. And I'll be there all day. So I'll be available to talk when you're ready. And, small conversation, but the thing that pissed me off about this scene, Miss Samantha, I don't know the lady's name. She's going to be Samantha to me. She's standing next to Sabrina, minding her business. Mind you, the conversation ain't but a minute or two at best. And Miss Samantha says, yeah, it's better that you talk to him at his job than yours. Again, you're giving smug, you're giving the energy that you're doing this little black girl a favor, and it's pissing me off. Anyway, she's over there interjecting, not minding her damn business. And Sabrina's like, so now she has to rush Rich off so we don't have no problems with Miss Girl. Because whoever this lady is, I don't know if it's her boss. I didn't bother picking up the relationship. But she feels like she got a little bit of power with Sabrina, or that she's, like I said, doing this little black girl a favor. And it's pissing me off. And she's going to annoy me this season. I'm on multiple occasions, I'm sure. All right, so we go back over to the to the beauty salon, beauty parlor, hair shop, whatever you want to call it, where you go get your wig split over at Karen's. The delivery dude came back to the shop, and we found out that the money in the account was short because of everything that Pam had recently purchased. In the last episode, the guy dropped off a bunch of bull semen, just a bunch of experimental stuff. Pam was working on a hair care line, and she decided that she's going to use the business account to purchase the things for the creation of her beauty products or whatever it is that she wants to come up with. Let's just say shampoo or some crap. And that is why the money was short, and that the library money, the lease money, whatever it is, couldn't be taken out of that account. And so Karen calls dude back to pick this stuff up and take it back to where he got it from. And he's trying to pick her up. He ain't giving a damn about these products. He's trying to talk to her, and she's like not really paying him any attention. And she also tells Pam that she was removed from the business account. And for me, she shouldn't have never been on it, because she still demonstrated carelessness, even though the fire at the old beauty salon was not her fault. She still has demonstrated carelessness on multiple occasions. So you being on my money, not gonna happen. It just wouldn't happen for me. I don't trust you that well. And for two, that would have just put you on your 3,742nd strike, because girl, now you are jeopardizing my brand new business because you think everything is a game. Of which Pam does. Pam be thinking everything is a game, and you about to mess up my lease for my building. And girl, I don't have time to be playing with you. Because, let's just say Sabrina didn't have it in her personal account. Where would that have left her, right? And then not only that, You didn't even tell. I don't know if she should have. I don't know. Pam didn't even tell her that the account was short, but I don't know if she even knew or cared enough to know that it would have been short. But for me, Pam, you would have had to replace that money, until these products get returned, and then whatever. Y'all would have figured it out. But yeah. Okay, we're at the grand opening. And everyone's kind of spewing. Well, the girls showed up. Everybody's not there yet. All the girls showed up, but it's not open to the public yet. And everybody's running late. Everybody has had their own things going on this week. Everybody hasn't been able to help Karen, as they promised to help her. So she's got a little bit of an attitude. Everybody's kind of sitting around, kind of spewing all of their recent issues. And she's like, nah, not today. We're not talking about any of that today. Y'all are here to support me, and that's what y'all better be doing. And we're like, okay. My bad, dog. And we finally learned that Karen has an issue because they were giggling with Fatima at the happy hour the other day, and she felt like, they should implore some of that enthusiasm on her grand opening day as they've given to Fatima, like, again, stop trying to divide the group. And they remind her, Danny reminded her, girl, you were invited and you told me hell no. So what is it that you want from me? You declined the invitation. So what? And Andy decides to apologize. Yeah, we were wrong. And I well within my right, tapped in my notes. No, ma'am. You should not have apologized because you were extended the invitation, and for whatever reason you decided that you wanted to keep up this attitude, not accept the invite, decide to sneak in the back door and see us having fun in here, and then get mad and throw the fun in our face. Girl, what do you want from me? Get you a mocktail, elevate them feet, and just chill. Like, what's the problem? Like, you don't get tired of being mad all the time? Because it's pissing me off that you're pissed all the time. Jeez Louise. All right. Miss Lisa, Karen's mom, catches Zach in the parking lot, trying to find out, like, listen, why are you here? Why are you here with flowers? Just what's tea? And he says that he's only there to give her the flowers and congratulate her, and he's gonna go away. And he's only there to be nice. And she's like, okay, fine, but I don't want you to further confuse her. And I don't know why everybody thinks that Karen is like 13 and that she's confused at nice gestures, because there's been a ton of people that have been nice to her and she's not presumed them to be in a relationship. I don't know what that's about, but everybody feels like they need to defend Karen and her sensibilities as opposed to, I don't know, making her figure it the fuck out. Like, I don't know. Something about that was weird to me. Like, you're going to confuse her. Like, is she not an adult that can decipher between intimate connection and not? I don't know. What do you think about that? Anyway, she tells him that a text will suffice and essentially just tells him he need to go ahead and head out. So just to keep down the peace, he's going to oblige. Penelope meets with Gary. And I don't know why. I don't know why the hell she's meeting with Gary. And it's something about the pregnant women in the series that tells me, why are y'all making dumbass decisions? Is it the pregnancy hormones, girl? I don't know. It's pissing me off. Either way, he apologizes for his behavior and offers her favorite food and gifts and blah, 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 blah. And, luckily the apology does not faze her. It doesn't move her. It doesn't really change her affect towards him. I don't know why you bothered coming, because you knew the apology wasn't going to change nothing for you anyway. He tries to throw that narcissistic charm on her and claims that he needs her because there's just so much going on in his life right now, and he needs her support. His life is falling apart, and he goes to open the food as if they're going to share the lunch, and spills the food on her dress on purpose, right? And so now she's got to run out and go down the hall to the bathroom to try to clean herself up. And he's smirking as she's walking out of the room and commences to going through this lady's purse and taking picture of all of her identification cards and everything that's in there. And at that moment, I solidified, like, Gary is not only narcissistic. He's not only selfish. He's not only a piece of crap. This man is dangerous. He's dangerous. And by the end of this episode, it's going to solidify that for me, because what the entire hell do you have going on? And once Penelope finds out, you need to sick Jordan on him. Y'all need to let them boys loose and let him get his ass towed from here to there. But I'm going to chill. We're going to get to it, right? Okay. All right. Rich and Sabrina are talking, and he says that raising kids, he's been around his nieces, his nephews, kids all of his life, and that's kind of held a space for him to have kids. And Sabrina tells him, like, you know, that's good, that's great, but I am the type of person that has known since I was a little kid that I've always wanted to be a mom. And he's like, yeah, so it feels like you're wasting your time dating someone who doesn't want kids, right? And he assures her, like, listen, let's just decide what our future will look like together. And she tells him, like, listen, all right, cool. I like you enough to hold off on it. She can't really say how she will feel about it into the future. And we don't know if she's going to regret the decision later. And y'all, don't fight me on this. Just hear me out. Hear me out. I think it's a bad idea. I think that is a bad idea because it is one of those, it's one of those core things that can't be up in the air. I don't know. Hear me out. Hear me out. It is one of those things that no, I can't say that because I don't have children and my mind might be changing. So I'm about to contradict myself. Either way, I'm also not in their age group. She knows, like, wholeheartedly from birth that that's what she wanted to be. So that is something that is so deeply ingrained into who she is as a person that it's not likely to change. Now, for me, that has not been my story. I can't say, oh, I wanted to be a mom since I was 5 years old. It's not my thing. That's not what I'm saying. Circumstances have, made me comfortable and put me in a place where that's what I, sure, I'm willing to entertain it now. However, you were in a place where you know that this is what you have wanted to do for as long as you wanted to do it. And you are now circumventing that because of your like for Rich. Now, what happens if you push that down for, 5-10 years, and then you decide, oh, I wasted all my good child rearing years seeing if Rich is going to change his mind, or if Rich is going to be able to live with changing his mind on something he's not been willing to be flexible on for his entire existence. So now we're going to be in a push and a pull because both people have two very important things that they may not be willing to give on. Okay, living in the city versus living in the country. A little bit more flexible. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's some other relational things that are a lot more flexible, and children might not be one of them. That's all I'm saying. I feel like it's a bad idea, but we're going to see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But I could see, this being season, where are we at? We're on season 7. I could see us getting to like season 10, 11, 12, and she regret, wasting those years because there's already like some sperm bank talk that is going on, and so we know that the window is closing, and so it might not be a great idea. That's all I'm saying. All right, Gary is ranting to his assistant. I'm assuming his assistant is I'm assuming that guy to be his assistant. I'm assuming he's already destroyed whatever he's needed to destroy in there, and they're just on the computer, just talking, just yapping it up. And he is pissed because he's calling Hayden. Hayden is of no assistance. I guess he's called Andy and she ain't answering her phone. Of course, everybody is now, suspect number 1 in his hit list, and everybody's pissing him off because they're not going to help him out of this thing he's gotten himself into. And now he thinks that, Andy might have used her contacts to put the FBI on his trail, which she's just as oblivious as you, so that's stupid. His assistant goes on to tell him that everything is done. And by everything, he means that Penelope's life insurance has been increased. And he has access to all of Penelope's account. And the only thing I could think of is sinister. Like, that's the only word I could describe this action. This man, not only do you form a relationship with me based on absolute lies, hell, at this point I wouldn't be willing to believe that Gary is your real name. Everything You lied to my family. You suckered me back into being in relationship with you. You steal my identity. You increase my life. Sir, what are you about? Are you about to get rid of Penelope because you need this money? Like, this is crazy. Which don't make sense in the long run because, sir, if the FBI is at the door, they already got the evidence. So what's the point of you? Penelope's money ain't gonna do you no good, or her life insurance ain't gonna do you no good because you're still going to prison. So at this point, I'm outdone. I am really speechless. I really am, because Tyler Perry, y'all taking it too far. Like, y'all taking it too far with the storylines. We ain't been too deep in depth on this show. Maybe like the one person that died in the fire, but we never seen them. We don't really have a connection to that person. But y'all playing it dangerous, man. This is getting crazy. Anyway, moving on. Andy gets back to the office. She has to leave the opening early because Fatima heard them talking about her name. Fatima's like, all right, I heard your name coming up. Like, you need to pull it together. We need to hear what your story is. And she's going to tell them that she did have a romantic relationship, but nothing financial. And Fatima tells her, like, girl, that's not good enough. It's really not. And so they're trying to reach out to Hayden because Hayden has already had his interview with the partners or whatever. And he's acting like he's working. But he did text her to say somebody named Leon. Can't think of the name outside of this interaction. He's brought Andy's name up 3 times. And so Mr. Leland is one of the partners. They catch him walking by, and Fatima says, hey, Andy wants to talk to you. Andy's in there talking to him, and she's like, Mr. Leland, I just wanted to let you know I did have a personal relationship with Gary, but, nothing financial, nothing that should put the company at risk. I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. And he just cuts to the chase and, decides to be honorary white man. And he says she breached the protocol in her behaviors with Gary. I'm not really sure how she did that by being in an intimate relationship with him. I'm not really sure. And he tells her, like, it ain't about her. And she's like, listen, she tells him, like, listen, I've been an asset to this company. I think she's also a partner, if I'm not mistaken. So not too much on the diminishing my character. And he was like, listen, it really ain't about your skill, your character, none of that. It's about my respect for you. And he calls her sleazy. And he's about to get into, really lashing her with the words. And then he grabs his chest and falls because, sir, one thing about that heart is going to attack you. What's up? And so he was, he has a heart attack, and now she has to call and get somebody in to come help him. And maybe that could prove to be beneficial because he seems to have decided who Andy is as a person. And if he has to account for her, it's definitely going to be negative, and it's not going to look good when it comes to the FBI. So maybe this heart attack is going to be her saving grace, to help her get up out of this. We'll see. Either way, that is how the episode ended. We see next week that Hayden is back on the warpath. I think he saw Andy kissing somebody. I think it's Jordan. And that must have pissed him off so bad that now he wants to get back on the warpath to destroy her. Like, I don't know what that's about. And then Penelope looks like she's coming to her senses. Looks like she kind of came in and kind of pacified Gary a little bit, and she decides to go through his documents, and she sees some documents that are concerning. Hopefully she's found what she needed to find, but she is calling Andy and telling her that the situation is not good. So hopefully we can kind of circumvent whatever the hell Gary's trying to plan for Penelope, and she needs to open her eyes and, be in her P's and Q's. So we'll see what happens with that. Either way, that's the end of the episode. Hopefully I ain't told y'all too much of my business, but if I did, whatever, sue me. Let me know what y'all think about the episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.